In this video, you'll learn about 12 different ways to make passive income in Canada. Hey, how's it going? My name is Chris Liu and I'm the creator of wealthawesome.com. Passive income is when you build up an asset so that it's earning you income without you having to do any or very little work. The good news is that with technology today, there are countless ways to earn passive income in Canada. But the bad news is that there's really no get-rich-quick scheme here. And you're either gonna have to invest one of two things, your time or your money. Number one passive income idea is robo-advisor investing. As futuristic as it sounds, robo-advisor investing is really straightforward. You'll fill out an online questionnaire, and using your answers, it'll place you in an ETF portfolio that'll invest you in exchange-traded funds all across the world. You'll be investing in hundreds of different stocks and bonds at a very low fee, and it'll all be managed by the robo-advisor company. You'll also get access to advisors either online or by phone. So you're not completely left out to dry, and you could get some advice from them, but expect some basic advice. It won't be too advanced, like advanced financial planning or tax preparations. You're probably not going to get that with robo-advisors. But what you will get is that your money will be managed and rebalanced automatically. There'll also be other advantages like tax loss harvesting and other features such as that. When you compare the fees of robo-advisors to other alternatives like mutual funds in Canada, they come in at much lower costs. So you're looking at about a 0.25 to 0.5% per year for a robo-advisor, whereas with a mutual fund, it could be upwards of 2% a year, which is a huge difference and super expensive. My top two picks for robo-advisors in Canada are Wealthsimple, which is probably the most well-known, and Quest Wealth, which is owned by Questrade. They have the lowest fees, but they also follow an active management approach. So that might not be what you're looking for, but they do it at a much lower fee than its competitors, at about 0.25% per year. With both these companies, you can get $10,000 managed for free, and you can check that out in the description below. Passive income idea number two is outsource your work. Tim Ferriss wrote a book called The 4-Hour Work Week that popularized this method of passive income. So by outsourcing your work, for example, say you're a freelance web developer and you build up a large client base and you keep on getting more clients, but you can't handle all the amount of work that's coming in. You just don't have enough hours to pull it off. What you can do is hire workers and outsource a lot of the work to them. And in that way, it'll free up your time and resources in order to build more passive income streams or find additional clients. Throughout my travels, I've met many people who have built successful businesses in this manner. I've met many people that have a full-time Canadian salary and who just work 10 to 20 hours overseeing operations using this method. There are countless fields where this strategy will work. I've met accountants that do this, lawyers, digital marketers, social media managers, and virtual assistants, just to name a few. Passive income idea number three, dividend stocks. When a company is performing really well and has a lot of earnings, how they will reward its shareholders is by issuing some of these earnings to them in the form of dividend. It's really easy to find a dividend that'll pay you between 3 to 5% per year. There are even stocks that pay over 10% per year on average, but I would shy away from those because usually they're not very sustainable and a lot riskier investments. I want to stress that dividends are not guaranteed. So at any time, a company can either cut their dividends or remove them completely if they're not performing well. A good example of this is Suncor. In 2020, with the COVID-19 pandemic, oil has dropped in price drastically. So Suncor has responded by dropping its dividends, slashing it by quite a large amount. Another risk of dividends are your stocks could lose value, so that's another risk to be aware of. Passive income tip number four is rental or Airbnb income. Airbnb or rental income is super popular with Canadians, and it's a great way to earn monthly income passively or mostly passively. There's still a lot of maybe maintenance or overseeing you have to do, but if you hire a management company, it is very passive. Airbnb has been a game changer for many landlords. The beauty of it is its flexibility. You can rent short-term or long-term. You could rent out extra rooms. You could rent out your entire house or apartment. Possibilities are really limitless. But there are risks for Airbnb because a lot of condo boards are banning them outright. So some cities are even implementing like a tax on Airbnbs. So it's something you got to be aware of, as it might be a risk in the future. But a nice thing about it is you get liability insurance, so you don't have to worry about your tenants trashing your place. Passive income idea number five, build your own ETF portfolio. If you're a do-it-yourself type investor, you might not want to use a robo-advisor and try to build your own ETF portfolio. The reason you'd like to do that is that the fees are even lower than a robo-advisor. So you're looking at to construct your ETF portfolio is maybe 0.07 to 0.15% per year only. So it's super low costs and very affordable. There's many resources on how to build an ETF portfolio. I would start with doing an online investor questionnaire at Vanguard. It's free to use and very simple, and it'll give you a good starting point of what type of investor you are. Two of my favorite providers of ETFs in Canada are Vanguard and iShares, that is owned by BlackRock. After setting up your ETF portfolio, you'll have to rebalance it and maybe make some changes to it in the future. So there is more maintenance than a robo-advisor. Plus, you won't get any advice for doing so. You'll have to figure it out all on your own. So if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, I would definitely recommend going this route. If you need more details, I wrote on my blog about how to start investing in Canada. It's a great guide to maybe get your feet wet and learn a little bit more about the beginning steps to take when you're trying to invest. Passive income idea number 6, start a blog. Ever since I started Wealth Awesome, I wanted to use it as a platform just to learn more about personal finance myself and to maybe teach other Canadians given my experience. I also wanted to use to document my journeys and my travels in 2020 here, but I've actually been stuck here in Asia. So besides that, starting a blog has been really rewarding for me. And there are countless ways that you can make money starting a blog. You can earn ad revenue. You can earn sponsorship or affiliate revenues if you partner with companies. You can also earn money from building your own product and selling it. So there are countless ways to monetize a website. That wasn't my main goal going into it. I just wanted something that I was passionate about, and I love writing. So it's really something that I wanted to grow. To give you an idea of how much money you can make with a blog, it's broken down by page view. So per page view, I would say on average you can make between 2 to 7 cents per page view. So for 10,000 page view, that translates to about $200 to $700 per month. And that will range wildly, depending on what niche you choose and other factors like what target market you're trying to target. So it's really hard to say how much money you can earn, but it's a great passive source once you get it up and running. Passive income idea number 7. High interest savings account. Sometimes boring passive income is the best kind of passive income. The nice thing about high interest savings accounts in Canada are that even though we're at almost all-time lows for interest rates, right now the Bank of Canada is only 0.25% for its overnight rate. We still get pretty decent interest rates if you go with an online bank and invest in their high interest savings account. So as an example, EQ Bank offers right now 1.7% everyday interest rate, which means that you'll earn 1.7% over the course of 1 year for whatever you invest inside the account. And that's really great actually, because if you look at one of the bigger banks, you're probably gonna get between 0.05 to like 0.1% on their savings account. So this really blows it out of the water, and you'll earn a lot more income from it if you invest in this rather than a regular savings account. So I'll tell you how I use my savings account, and this is how I feel most people should, is if you have, say, a short-term purchase that you want to make within the next, say, 6 to 12 months, throwing that money into a high interest savings account is the perfect way to go, because you don't want to invest that money. You don't want to lose it in the stock market and not have it available for when you want to make that purchase. So that's what I do for if I want to take an expensive vacation or something like that. Another scenario where it'd be good to use a high interest savings account is if you know that you have absolutely zero risk tolerance and you can't lose any money in the stock market by investing. So if you know you're that type of investor, then consider putting your money into one of these high interest savings accounts, because there is no risk and they're all CDIC deposit guaranteed. But again, my top choice, EQ Bank, check it out in the description. Passive income number 8. You could write a book or an ebook. With technology today and with platforms like Amazon, it's never been easier to publish your own book or ebook or audiobook. So any of these things, if you feel like you're creative or you have a skill to share, you could start writing something and it'll earn you royalties. It's definitely not the easiest way to make passive income, but if it's something that you feel that you'd be good at, it's a fantastic choice. People could earn income for decades to come, or at least several years. Passive income idea number 9. You could sell a physical product online. Again, throughout my travels, I've met many successful online e-commerce business owners. So there are a few different ways that I've seen people make money doing this method. The first method is something called dropshipping, is when you don't physically own the inventory, but you're able to sell it on a platform like Amazon. Right now, it's super competitive to be a drop shipper because you don't own anything really proprietary, and basically anyone can do it. So there's a ton of competition and margins have become razor thin. So it's definitely getting to be a lot tougher to become a drop shipper. Another way is wholesaling. So you could buy items in large quantities and sell it online, either through something like eBay or Amazon. The third way to sell products I've seen is private labeling. So you can take a product, purchase it for cheap from something like a Chinese manufacturer, and then slap your own branding on it. It's called private labeling. And a lot of people have a lot of success with doing this. Probably the best way to do it is through your own store on using a platform like Shopify, which is a Canadian company, but it's one of the best e-commerce companies for you to set up as a beginner. So that's a really great way, and I've seen a lot of people make a ton of money doing the private labeling route. The last route I've seen is to build your own product from scratch. So this is definitely the hardest thing to do, is to come up with your own designs, come up with your own brand, go to a manufacturer in somewhere like China and get it produced and sell it on your Amazon store or Shopify store. So that's definitely the hardest and most labor intensive, but if you could do it, it's also the highest profit margin and you get to keep every cent to yourself. Passive income idea number 10, create an online course. With platforms like Skillshare, Udemy, and lynda.com, there are tons of different course providers where if you make a successful course, you can collect passive income for years to come. It requires a ton of upfront work and you have to put out great content these days because there's just so much different content. But the nice thing about it is that anyone can create a course. Even if you don't think you're an expert about something, you can learn the beginning steps of something and then create a beginner's course to it. It's a really great perspective because you just learned it, so you know how to explain it to beginners. Sometimes experts get caught up in how to explain something, so their online courses are too technical. So really, there's countless ways. As long as you could be passionate about it, you could create an online course about it. Passive income idea number 11 is to start a podcast. Podcasts are something that have been exploding in popularity in the past decade. And it's something I really enjoy listening to as well because, first of all, they're free to use and you could use it in areas where you can't watch, say, a video or go on YouTube. You can listen to it while you're driving or taking the bus, or you can listen to it while you're at the gym or doing chores. So that's something that you can't do with most other mediums. So I feel like that's where podcasts have really come out to shine. And there's a ton of ways to monetize it too if you can build up a loyal following. For example, Joe Rogan just signed a $100 million deal, biggest of its kind, with Spotify. Of course, you're probably not going to reach that level, but if you can build a good subscriber base, there's definitely advertisers that are willing to advertise on your podcast. Passive income idea number 12 is to launch a startup. So this is definitely probably the hardest way to earn passive income. You'll definitely have to have a lot of time and money put into it at the beginning in order to build up a large tech startup. Having a great idea is crucial, but it's even more important to execute properly on the idea and to get the proper funding and having the proper expertise to back it up. But once you set it up and have your company running, you can take a step back and have a more passive form of income. And oftentimes it could be a large form of income if you make a sale to a larger company or another investor. I would recommend building multiple passive streams of income because they're not always guaranteed to last forever. So if one of them fails, you have other ones to fall back on. I personally have 5 different passive income sources that I just talked about, and I'm hoping to build at least 2 or 3 different ones in the next few years here. If you'd like to learn more ideas, I wrote a longer article on my blog at wealthawesome.com, and you can also check out the next videos I have on investing. I put a link in everything in the description below. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for listening.